Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is actually the final edition for the 2007 ROH reviews. I think this has pretty much run its course, so this will be the final one. Just going to release everything all at the same time. So let's get right down to it. Don't have a lot of time, so let's try to get this done as quickly as possible. So, yeah, the first show was Survival of the Fittest 2007. This is probably the weakest Survival of the Fittest that they've had so far. It took place in Las Vegas. They finally went out to the West Coast, which was, a huge accomplishment for Ring of Honor. But, yeah. This show was kind of awkward. The lighting was kind of weird, just a weird venue. Not a lot of fans were there, but some of the solid first round matchups were Rocky Romero and T.J. Perkins. That was good. Delirious and Aries had a very, very good match here. Claudio and Davey Richards had a match, not amazing, but pretty standard stuff. Good stuff. And then we had Nigel, McGuinness, and Bryan Danielson. They actually had a match, went to a 20-minute time limit draw. This is probably their weakest match, but as far as the wrestling goes, it was superb though. But yeah, like I said, it went to a 20-minute time limit draw, so no one advanced to Survival of the Fittest. Then the Survival of the Fittest match, we had Roderick, Strong, Chris Hero, Rocky Romero, Aries, Claudio Castagnoli, and yeah, so I think that was, and Human Tornado advanced. So yeah, the Survival of the Fittest match was not a great wrestling match, but it was fun though. It was extremely fun. Chris Hero won Survival of the Fittest, and the way he did it was just hilarious. He pretty much just stayed on the outside with Larry Sweeney. He was kind of mocking the match. He was chanting, "This is awesome." He was just making fun of everything that was going on. And then there was some really, really cool, interaction in this match with, Sweeney actually paid off Roderick Strong, and then halfway through the match, Hero turned on Roderick and took the money out of Roderick's pants. I just thought that was hilarious. And, Hero just picked the spots. He just came into the match and just, he eliminated everyone. He actually got all 5 or 6 eliminations, whatever it was, and actually made Claudio Castagnoli tap out in the finals to win Survival of the Fittest 2007. There's some really cool stuff after the show with, Larry Sweeney and Hero out on the Las Vegas Strip. So, yeah, I mean, this is a fun show, but it's probably one of the weakest shows of the year as far as, great wrestling goes. So, I probably would not recommend it, though. So, all right, next up we have Chaos at the Cow Palace. This is the California debut from San Francisco. This show was pretty good, actually. I would give it a slight recommendation. Some fun matches here. You had Chris Hero and Human Tornado. That was good. You had Roderick Strong, Claudio Castagnoli for the FIP title, I believe for the first time ever. That was okay for what it was. The show really starts to pick up with Davey Richards and Rocky Romero. They had 2 tag matches on the show. The first one was against T.J. Perkins and Tony Kozina. Excellent match. Really, really underrated. And then they had another match with the Age of the Fall with Necro and Jimmy Jacobs, which was kind of more of a brawl type of match, but it was still good, though. And then the show really picks up with Bryan Danielson and Aries. This is the second match in the best of 3 series. Excellent stuff once again. Just another great match between these 2 guys. You can just feel it for this match. This is where Danielson actually tied it up. So, Aries won the first match, so Danielson actually countered the last chancery into a small package. And, the series is now tied at 1-1. The match of the night, definitely an excellent match. Then the main event, we had Nigel McGuinness versus Jay Briscoe. This is definitely the best Nigel Jay Briscoe match. And, yeah, this is actually Nigel's first title defense from his 2007 reign. Yeah, this is good, though. Don't expect Jay Briscoe to be flying all over the place. This is more of a hole-for-hole type of wrestling match. Good psychology. Jay Briscoe tried to, work over Nigel's arm. There's a lot of good psychology in this match, picking apart the body parts, and, from both guys. And Nigel actually made Jay Briscoe tap out with the London Dungeon. So, yeah, I mean, a good, solid technical wrestling match there. 3 3/4 stars. Good stuff there. So, yeah, that's Chaos at the Cow Palace. Next up, we have Glory by Honor 6, Night 1. This is the first Misawa show. This show was very, very, very tough to sit through. It's very, just kind of a depressing show, actually. Just very, very weird. The Philadelphia crowd was kind of dead for it. You had that whole faction warfare thing. They did this whole spot fest with, there's so many factions at the time. You had the Vulture Squad, you had the No Remorse Corps, you had the Resilience, you had Steiner Generico, the Briscoes, Age of the Fall, the Hangman 3, led by Adam Pearce. They had just had this crazy spot fest after the after one of the tag matches. But, the show really starts to pick up with Bryan Danielson and Aries. They had the final match, the best of 3 series. Which finally come to an end. Aries actually won the series with the 450 splash. It was a great match. They played off the 2 previous matches, so that's what makes this match so great. Probably the best match from Glory of Honor 6 weekend by far. So yeah, that was a great match. Match of the night. definitely highlight of the weekend. And then you had Nigel McGuinness and Chris Hero. Nigel actually was not going to wrestle on the show because he just tore his bicep. But, you know, Larry Sweeney and Hero did a great promo, got Nigel to actually defend the belt, really got under his skin. Hero actually makes Nigel tap out, but Nigel actually had his foot on the rope, so they restarted the match, and then Nigel made Hero tap out pretty quickly. So, yeah, I mean, it was a great moment, though. You know, it really wasn't much of a match, but, you know, when Nigel actually tapped out and they gave Hero the belt at first, the crowd just exploded. So that was a great moment. And then the main event, yeah, Misawa teaming up with Kenta to take on Morishima and Marufuji. You know, kind of disappointing. Actually, I'm still going to give this 4 stars. I think it's actually underrated. I think the action was great here. The stuff between Kenta and Marufuji was epic. But, you know, there's just a lot of dead air in this match. It took a while to get going. You know, Misawa didn't look really that impressive. He looked more impressive the following night. But, yeah, it went to 30-minute time limit draw. The crowd was chanting bullshit at the end of the match. So, yeah, I mean, it could have been a lot better. You know, a lot of it got a poor reaction, in my opinion. But it was still a good match, though. You know, you have so much talent in this match. You can't really go wrong. So, all right, next up we have Glory by Honor 6, Night 2. It's a good show. You know, it was kind of overbooked. You know, they did a little bit too much in the show. They really used this show to build up the Final Battle show and the Rising Above pay-per-view. So that kind of hurts the show a little bit. And, yeah, just a little bit too much. They went a little bit too overboard here, in my opinion. So, you know, Hero and Generic will start off the night. They had a good, solid opening match. Claudio, Castagnoli, and Naomichi Marufuji. Best match in the undercard. Great stuff. Good match. You know, almost stole the show. Got to give them credit. And then we had Morishima and Bryan Danielson had another match in the show. You know, they were really building up this feud a lot. You know, this is another disqualification match. Danielson actually went hard at Morishima. This was like 11 minutes. I heard some people say that they consider this the best match that is under 10 minutes. You know, because of the intensity, very, very intense. You know, Nigel actually came out after the match, kind of, you know, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Trying to pester Bryan Danielson for, you know, going after Morishima's balls in the match. Like, Danielson went after Morishima's nuts, tried to just stomp the shit out of him, because it's kind of like an eye for an eye type of thing, you know, because Morishima went after the eye in the previous match. So, yeah, just a great intensity in that match. Good stuff there. I'll probably give it 4 stars. You know, he had a great match, No Remorse Core in the Vulture Squad. That was a good match. Chris Hero and Austin Aries had a match. This was for the #1 contendership. For Nigel McGuinness. It was okay. It was a pretty good stuff. The promo before the match was pretty good. And then you had the main event with, well, this is supposed to be the main event. You have Misawa versus Kenta. Good match, you know, Misawa and Kenta, you know, main event in New York City. I mean, I thought they really delivered. I thought Misawa looked impressive here for his age. Like I said before, you know, Kenta hit probably the sickest go to sleep ever in this match. You know, he just really connected with it. He really looked like he shook up Misawa hard. With that shot. Misawa looked very, very impressive as well. He gave a great effort here. A solid 4-star match. Good stuff there. And then the main event was Briscoes and Age of the Fall. You know, the crowd was kind of dead by this point. You know, no one really cared about it. There was some brutal stuff, though. Give Necro credit. Necro took some brutal bumps in this match. So, overall, even though the show was kind of tough to sit through and kind of stacked, you do get your money's worth, though. So, I would still recommend it. All right, the next show we get is Reckless Abandon. Reckless Abandon is kind of a skippable show. I mean, there's really nothing on this show that's amazing. You know, yeah, Bryan Danielson and Necro Butcher. That was this nice, solid undercard match. You know, very intense and short and sweet, violent match. You know, a lot of great strikes from Danielson in that match. And yet Eric Stevens, David Richards, Jr. Tornado, 3-way dance. I thought that was extremely fun. And then you had Roderick Strong and Austin Aries. This is actually a 30-minute Iron Man match. Kind of underrated. Excellent match between these two guys. I think Aries actually won the match 4 falls to 3. It was pretty dramatic. The crowd was kind of dead for it, but give these guys credit. They wrestled a great 30-minute match here. And then the main event. The main event was pretty good, actually. It was a tag team scramble with the Briscoes, Age of the Fall, Vulture Squad, and the Hangman 3. Great spot fest, though. Extremely fun. You know, not a lot of psychology, but, you know, just enjoy it for what it is. It's a great spot fest. So, all right, let's move on to Unscripted 3. Unscripted 3 is one of the most depressing Ring of Honor shows of all time. Unfortunately, there was a snowstorm, so they couldn't do the Trios tournament. So they actually did a, you know, it was called Unscripted. They just tried to rush it. You know, a lot of these matches got too much time because people weren't, you know, some of the wrestlers did not arrive yet. So you had Lacey And Sarah DeRay actually wrestled for like 18 minutes, which did not go very well. Yeah, Hero and Claudio wrestled 2 out of 3 falls for like 25 minutes. So yeah, like I said, like after the opener was good. It was Austin Aries and Tyler Black. Great match from Tyler Black. That was like his first like big match in Ring of Honor. But after that, like the everything up until Danielson and Jimmy Jacobs is probably like some of the worst ROH footage you'll probably ever see. And then, you know, you had Bryan Danielson and Jimmy Jacobs. They had a 4-star match in the show. This was great, actually. Jimmy Jacobs actually upset Bryan Danielson, got the win. This had a hot crowd. Danielson got busted open. A very, very dramatic match. And then the main event, you had Briscoes and Eric Stevens versus Roderick, Davey, and Rocky Romero. It was okay. It was a good main event. A lot of stiff action. It was an action-packed main event. You know, it kind of ended before it really like picked up into that awesome gear. So that's Unscripted 3. All right, so next we have Rising Above 2007. This is actually a pay-per-view, and this is actually my first time going to a Ring of Honor show. So yeah, this is great though. You know, he had some great stuff on here. This featured the classic Austin Aries and Nigel McGuinness world title match. This actually was voted the 2008 match of the year on the ROH message board, but you know, it didn't officially air until 2008 on pay-per-view. So that's why. But yeah, this is a great match. You know, Nigel took one of the most vicious bumps I've ever seen. Aries actually did the heat-seeking missile. Nigel wasn't looking, and he went headfirst into the guardrail, got a concussion. I mean, a very dangerous spot. I don't know why that ended up like that. And then Nigel ended up missing Final Battle because of that, which totally sucked. But yeah, great match. There was some awesome stuff with Nigel actually did the lariat, and then you know, Aries flip-flopped in the air onto the outside. That was sick. So there was a sick lariat to end the match. Aries wrestled. This is when Austin Aries was the man. I would say he was actually better than Davey Richards back then. He was so good back then. I don't know what. I just can't wait for him to start wrestling this way again because he was awesome back then. So yeah, some other good stuff from the show. You had a great scramble match with all the faction warfare tag teams. You had Danielson and Morishima that had a nice bloody brawl. Very, very short but very intense. Definitely, you know, set up the Final Battle 2008 match very nicely, even though it was a year in the making. Then you had the Briscoes versus Roderick Strong and Rocky Romero, 2 out of 3 falls. This is when the Briscoes streak was officially ended. You know, the Briscoes kept on winning 2 falls in a row, and Rocky and Roderick Strong officially ended it. You know, I think they were the wrong team to end it, though. I really do, but I could see why they did. You know, they kind of wanted to wake up the crowd and, you know, get the crowd into this match. They could say, you know, they finally defeated the Briscoes in the 2 out of 3 falls match. But, you know, Briscoes actually won the next 2 falls, so that's pretty much what it was. This is a mediocre match, one of the weakest Briscoes matches of the year, but it was still good, though. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. The main event of the show, the live main event, was actually Marufuji and Claudio Castagnoli, which was kind of disappointing, you know. Kind of weak for a main event back then, but it's actually a bonus match, so definitely check it out. So, all right, that was Rising Above. Next up, we'll move on to Final Battle 2007. I was actually sitting front row for this show, so I remember a lot about it. And yeah, actually, I think it's kind of underrated. It's a great show, actually. Yeah, Necro Butcher and Jack Evans, they had a no DQ match, which was pretty good. You know, some good stuff in that match. Yeah, Naomichi Marufuji versus Davey Richards. I think this is underrated. I think it's great, actually. Richards and Marufuji going at it. Obviously, today, I think both of these guys are a lot better today, but back then, they could still put on a great match, and that's what it was. You had a great tables match with, you know, Hangman 3 and Steen and Generico and Delirious. I thought that was, you know, kind of botchy, but I thought it was very, very entertaining. Roderick Strong and Eric Stevens for the FIP title was great. Eric Stevens defeated Roderick to win the FIP belt. Nice, hard-hitting match. Hilarious match. Yeah, Morishima, Danielson, Austin Aries, and Chris Hero. They had a 4-way elimination match. Chris Hero was freaking hilarious in this match. And then Aries and Danielson actually double-teamed Morishima to eliminate him. And then it came down to Aries and Danielson. They put on another great wrestling match. Danielson actually won the match to secure himself a #1 contender spot. So yeah, the very, very entertaining match. Match of the night. Great stuff. This pretty much had everything in it. Hilarious right there. And then the main event, yeah, the Briscoes versus the Agents of Fall. Crowd definitely sucked for this show. They kind of sucked for this main event. You know, New York City was starting to get too much shows. They were getting a little bit burned out. But yeah, this is great though. Agents of Fall actually defeated the Briscoes finally to win the Ring of Honor tag team titles. This actually featured an amazing ending though. You know, Jacobs actually did the Contra Code, and then Black finished it up with the 450 splash. A great ending. One of the best endings in ROH history right here. And, you know, a great show. Final Battle 2007. So that's the end of 2007. Hope you guys enjoyed the series. All right.